I have the day off. It's really pretty outside. I really don't want to work on anything, but I have so many things to work on, and I need to work on something, and I just can't decide what to do. I'm at a loss, except I've got this one project that's been sitting here for a couple of years, and I haven't really touched it, and so I think I'm going to do that. And it's this right here. It's 1966 or 67 Plymouth Valiant that I picked up a couple of years ago, really cheap. Kind of thought it was cool looking, so I bought it, put it in my driveway, and I have barely touched it since then. I saw it on Craigslist. I thought it was really cool looking, and you know, it was a two-door sedan. It got converted into a pickup truck, which is pretty cool looking. They did actually build something that looked a lot like this in Australia, where they have what they call the Ute market, where they have, you know, El Camino Ranchero style vehicles that work as cars and as trucks. This thing is pretty neat looking. It started out its life as just a two-door sedan, and then it was drag raced for a long time, and either had a full tube frame or partial tube frame put on it, and eventually they quit racing it and just let it sit. And one day, I guess somebody parked a S10 next to it and noticed that it had about the same wheelbase. So it's now sitting on an S10 frame. It has a 307 Chevy that, near as I can figure out from the numbers, is from a Chevy 2, as is the 4-speed transmission in it. That's also out of a Chevy 2. They did update it with a hydraulic clutch. You can see the wiring is fully chopped and hacked. There's nothing is wired up except the ignition and the starter, and those aren't wired particularly well. It's got this custom homemade single pin hinge or double pin hinge hood here, which you can see there's a little bit of rust through there. That's got to be taken care of. It looks like at one time it used to have a different setup on the front, which, like I said, I think this was a partial tube frame, so it had a different setup for the hood, for a flip front hood. It has a homemade hood scoop, and we've got same thing. We've got some rusting going along here. We'll have to fix that. The hood scoop, it actually looks pretty good, as long as you don't look at it dead on. If you look at it straight on from the front, if I can get far enough back here, you can see. See if I can get in the middle. You can see that the center line of the scoop does not match the center line of the hood. It's actually, here's the center line of the hood, and here's the center line of the scoop. So there, it's off like a half an inch. I don't know how that happened. This thing is just made out of some roofing tin, I think. It's actually a multi-piece deal. This is a panel, and then these are panels, and then I'm assuming they just bondoed the heck out of it to get it together. Inside, these are S10 seats, I think. Super securely bolted down with these 3/8 bolts. Looks like all thread. Again, you can see kind of like the hack job they did on the inside of it. This roofing tin still got the raised sections in it. That's all got to come out. It does have a 4-speed in it, and they did put some gauges in the dash, although none of them are hooked up to anything. They did panels on the. They've rolled this in. They did these panels right here. Kind of cool. We have the bed, which is an S10 bed that they just cut and fit into the back of this. We've got the cat litter boxes full of extra parts for this thing. They created this tailgate. It does open. It's screwed down right now, It's got some little sheet metal screws in there so it won't open up, but it does actually work. The S10 chassis is completely stock. This is a S10 fuel door, which is held shut with a magnet. They put underneath this cover, we've got the stock fuel tank, which they have just pinched shut and cut all of the lines for, and it's super crusty looking, so I decided that I'm just going to remove the tank, and I bought this tank, which is either, this is a 10-gallon, which is either going to sit in the bed, or if I can fit it, it's going to go in the same spot that the original tank was in. So this should be, I should have started working on it long before this time, but I did a little bit of stuff to it. This, that Edelbrock intake and the valve covers, and there's underneath that air cleaner as a brand new 1406, 1405 Edelbrock Performer carburetor, and it got a El Cheapo online remote breather catch can. Put some electric fans on it, which you can see are also not wired up yet. So there's done a little bit of stuff to it, but I think today we're going to try and get the fuel tank out of it. And the dog will probably help. I've never been underneath this before. I've never even jacked it up, but it definitely was tube framed at some point. These are, you can see where these tubes are welded into the body, and then they've been cut off. There's quite a few of those on the body tying it together, and they've been cut out to clear like the S10 rails. And it looks like they may have actually put in part of the S10 floor pan to when they bolted it up, but I need to get that bolt loose. And here's a fuel pump that they put in with a piece of wood underneath here, hooked to a brass, or not brass, that's copper line, which is that's actually not that terrible really. Let's see here. I did some stuff I wouldn't have done performance wise, like they tucked the exhaust pipes into the glass packs rather than going with a larger bore pipe, so you get some restriction there. Not that it probably matters with the 307. And we got to get, let's see here, that bolt loose, and then this bracket needs to be unbolted from the frame rail, and it's got 50 years of crud on it. It looks like, it's hard to tell up here too, they did some cutting out. There's like all kinds of stuff going on to create these wheel wells. A mixture of what looks like they tubbed the original sheet metal, and then they went back and you've got another smaller tub from the S10 in there. Alright, I've got a transmission jack here from our friends at Harbor Freight that I'm going to use to hold this thing. It doesn't feel like it's full of gasoline, but it's definitely not empty. And I'd prefer not to have it fall on me. I got the first strap loose here. The secret word of the day is eye protection, because man, when you're working on some dirty rusty thing like this stuff goes everywhere when you put an impact on it. So now we got to get this bracket loose. It looks like this is the strap hooks to this bracket, which also goes almost all the way across the fuel tank. So it looks like the only way to get the tank out is to get the strap off. I mean, is to get this bracket off. And since this band straps to the bracket, I'm hoping that I can just take the bracket loose and the whole thing will come loose, which means getting this bolt right here, and then there apparently is a stud. Maybe it's that bolt right there. There's another bolt. It might actually be this one right here. Hopefully it is, because then I can get to it from this side. The other side, there is zero room. I might be able to get a wrench in there, but that's about it. So we're going to do that. We're going to do that off camera because it's super loud, and I also need both hands. I almost forgot to take the filler pipe loose. Got a little hose clamp on it right here. I got this little gadget, which is, let's I can barely get in there. It's this little thing right here, a little ratcheting deal with a 1/4 inch square on one end, and then I'll take a 6-point, screwdriver bits and stuff on the other side. It's actually pretty handy for getting down in there. Power built. I think it's like 15 bucks, 17 bucks, something like that. So this bracket is pinning the tank between the frame rail and the drive shaft. So I'm going to have to get the strap off. The bolt is not giving it up. I put penetrating oil and everything on it. It ain't going anywhere. So I'm going to cut it with an angle grinder right here. And it's going to be noisy and messy. But I had to record it just in case I cut a hole in the tank and set the car on fire. Because, I mean, you can't pass something like that up. Set the car on fire, and I didn't even drop the gas tank off myself. Well, you know what they say about the best laid plans. I'm using my transmission jack to get this fuel tank out from underneath here. And the jack is all the way down, and I still need like another 3 to 4 inches. So I'm going to have to probably kick the jack out from underneath the tank. And I need to be careful because, and this thing definitely needs to be replaced. Let's see if we can get a good view on it right here. What is that? What is that right there? That is a hole in the tank. That is a hole in this raggedy old tank, which makes me really glad I decided to replace it. Wow. There, it's in focus real good there. Look at that. So, once again, I'm probably not going to record this, although it would be funny. Probably. But I'm going to see if I can't kick this thing out from under here and let's see how much trouble it's going to give me. So how did you break your ankle? Well, I was kicking a transmission jack out from underneath a fuel tank. And I dropped it right on my foot. Oh my goodness. Ow, my foot bone. Actually, it's not that bad. There. Ta-da. Hot dog. Now, I think I can slide it. I still can't get it out the side because the exhaust is in the way. But I'll move the jack and I can slide it right out of the back. Fantastic. Holy cow, boys and girls. Talk about safety last. Look at this thing right here. Man. Yes. Look at that. Yeah, that's not good. Good thing, and there's that first hole I spotted. Good thing I decided to take it out. Look how good the metal looks underneath that rubber strap, though. Boy, that's like brand new right there. Wow. And this gasoline smells fantastic. I don't think it would light off. I poked a hole in the end of the tank, which it turned out I didn't need to do because right next to it was a gigantic rust spot, but I poked a hole in it. Look at that stuff right there. Let me tell you what. Be happy that YouTube does not have smell-o-vision. This stuff giving me a migraine. It smells so bad. Oh my gosh. And there's a surprising amount of it in there. I was hoping there was only a couple of gallons, but this thing must have 8-9 gallons of raggedy, old, brown fuel in it. Man, what a mess. Well, there's some more holes right there. Wow. Wow. Projects. If you ever wanted to see some rancid gasoline. Look at this stuff right here. Holy cow. This stuff, I already said, it smells so terrible. It's giving me like a 2-day bender hangover headache. It smells awful. I think the only reason we didn't have to worry about the thing catching fire was that tank was the fuel was, because of all the holes in the tank, is because the fuel was so bad that it just wouldn't burn. Wow, this is, I mean, I have worked on some hot garbage in my day, but this thing, let's see if we can get that in. Look at the inside of this. Holy cow. That is amazing. God, look at all the holes you can see like pouring in from. God. I never seen one this bad. All right, I got the tank out. We saw how terrible it looked. It was a good thing that it came out and needed to come out. Unfortunately, the new tank will not fit back in that spot. I didn't really think it would. The gap is only about a 15 by 15 space that I could fit it in, and it's 20 by 18 inches. So we're going to put it in the bed, probably something like that. Obviously, it's got that low point on it there to catch fuel, and we're going to have to lift it up a little bit. I've got some 1x3 box steel that I probably will turn into a risers for it, and the battery's going to get mounted back here too, so we're going to figure out a battery box, and we'll probably make one whole thing, a whole welded piece to fit in there that'll hold both of them. But I think I'm done for the day. That was a decent amount of progress for the day. I still can't get over how bad that tank was. It reminds me of the Exxon Valdez from Waterworld, that just like rust line running all the way around it. So now I just got to figure out how to get rid of it. Although at the rate it's rusting, I can probably let it just return to the earth. Anyway, if you like watching this kind of stuff, please subscribe, like it, or don't like it. Leave a comment. It's like I try and respond to all the comments, no matter what they are. And I do this is the kind of stuff I do when I'm off work. I work on this stuff. I work on old tractors and go-karts and all, build motors and transmissions and all that kind of stuff. So if you like watching somebody screw around with that kind of stuff, I would appreciate having you watch.